It's generally accepted, aside from a few notable exceptions, please don't hurt me, that wrestlers nowadays are in peak physical condition. The minimum physical requirement of a WWE superstar is at a level many of us will never reach in our lifetimes, and yet, to get noticed and pushed by you-know-who, wrestlers need to supersede that base level by some margin. It is worth mentioning that Brie Bella and Maryse compete regularly, with varying levels of success, look phenomenal, and even performed at the recent Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, despite, both giving birth in the last year or so. But nevertheless, they don't make the list, which is appropriately stacked. I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture, and these are 10 wrestlers currently in the best shape of their lives. Number 10, Jinder Mahal. An obvious place to start, but it's fair to say that Jinder Mahal's transformation from jobber to the stars and worst member of 3MB into WWE champion may have something to do with the fact that he seemingly in the space of a month piled on the muscle and got so veiny he looked like a human road map. There was much speculation on how he achieved such spectacular results in such a brief period of time, but according to him, it's due to giving up alcohol and eating loads of chicken and broccoli. And that's it, okay? Moving on. Number 9, Mike Kanellis. After debuting at Money in the Bank 2017, Kanellis didn't receive the push many anticipated, began slipping down the card and losing with alarming regularity on TV, if appearing at all. He subsequently revealed he'd been battling addiction, which affected not only his abilities inside the squared circle, but was also clearly physically debilitating. Thankfully, with the help of his partner Maria, he overcame his demons, has been clean and sober for over a year now, and looks in incredible shape. Here's hoping that WWE, who have already documented his road to recovery, give the former Impact Wrestling X Division champion the push he's clearly worked so hard for. Number 8, Sheamus. Ever since arriving on the main roster for WWE in 2009, Sheamus has maintained a fantastic physique. But in the past year or so, he really has set the bar for how the rest of the locker room should look. His Celtic Warrior workouts on YouTube exemplify the efforts the 40-year-old is putting in to constantly evolve his look and develop his physical attributes. It's reflected in his in-ring performances alongside his tag team partner Cesaro, where they chuck people around like Simon Miller could do to the entire WhatCulture office. Number 7, Carl Anderson. You don't earn the nickname Abs Anderson for nothing. Carl Anderson's transformation as a result of a New Year's resolution has been attributed to the wonders of CrossFit. Through a complete overhaul in training and diet, Machine Gun has gone from just another guy in the tag team division to a ridiculously toned superstar who may well return the club to the title picture alongside his good brother Luke Gallows, who's seen similarly impressive results. Best of all, the person most impressed by this change? Anderson's hot Asian wife, of course. Number 6, The Big Show. No one would have blamed Show had he quietly retired a couple of years ago. Nevertheless, the man formerly billed at over 500 pounds instead focused his efforts on getting into shape despite being in his later years, dropped 70 pounds, and has become the poster boy for the physical changes that can be achieved by anyone who sets their mind to it. The world's largest athlete seems to be at his peak both physically and mentally due to the process he's been through. And as a fan who's watched him struggle throughout his career with weight issues, it's great to see the Big Show looking the way he does today. Nice work, big man. Number 5, Dean Ambrose. Ambrose's return from injury was thrilling for a variety of reasons. It signaled a possible reunion of the Shield, it showcased the fact that he'd given up the battle with his widow's peak that all men eventually have to deal with, but most importantly of all, it was an exhibition of the effort he'd been putting in whilst away to metamorphosize his body type from lean lunatic fringe to psychopathic powerhouse. Look, he would have still got a huge reaction had he returned looking exactly the same as he did when we last saw him in December, but the physical development we saw in the former WWE champion added a whole new dimension to his character. The Ambrose of 2018 looks phenomenal, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what happens to him over the next few months on Raw as a result. Until he presumably gets fed to Roman, of course. Number 4, John Cena. Has John Cena ever not been in the best shape of his life? I mean, look at him. He'd snap me like a bloody twig. The former bodybuilder turned 16-time WWE champion prides himself on his appearance and throughout his 16 years on the main roster has kept himself in impeccable shape. Cena has transitioned into being part-time in a very similar way to his old rival, The Rock, who also deserves a mention on this list. You may argue that despite both being in incredible shape, it doesn't necessarily translate to effectiveness in the ring, but I dare you to say that to their faces. Number 3. Trish Stratus. Here we go, the real reason you clicked on this list, eh? Ahead of WWE's first all-women pay-per-view, WWE Evolution, this image was released to showcase women's division legend Stratus training for the big day. Despite Elias's barb about the 7-time women's champion's age on a recent episode of Monday Night Raw, I wonder who could have told him to reference that. Stratus looks fantastic for 41 and fully prepared for her contest with Alexa Bliss. Anticipation for the showdown will only increase as WWE Evolution gets closer, and Stratus will no doubt relish the chance to showcase the fact she's still as good as she was, if not better. Number 2. Drew McIntyre. It's fair to say that Drew McIntyre changed a bit in between his departure from WWE in 2014 and return as a member of the NXT roster 3 years later. Jacked. Once the Chosen One, literally named by Vince McMahon as a future world champion back in 2009, he fell out of favor and seemed to be finished after leaving the company, having last been seen as a member of 3MB. No pressure, Heath. However, a return to the independent circuit was just what he needed in order to reassess his career goals and motivate a body transformation that got everyone's attention. No longer was McIntyre a handsome, toned wrestler with promise, now he was an 18-stone beast who dominated his opponents, won championships, and was so highly regarded that he now has former world champion Dolph Ziggler playing second fiddle to him. Number 1. Tommaso Ciampa. Tommy Ciampa's physical evolution has dovetailed perfectly with his character's shift from plucky fan favourite as a member of DIY to obnoxious, arrogant champion. Ciampa's incredible build exemplifies his self-centered nature as champion. It screams that he only cares about being number 1 and therefore keeps himself in peak condition in order to defend his title from all comers. The fact he's managed to achieve this after recovering from a potentially career-ending injury should not be overlooked either. I love you, you beautiful bastard, you. Tommaso Ciampa, with barely an ounce of fat on his truly shredded physique, is in the best shape of his life and wants you to know it.